Hey guys, it's Justin again with another Tutorial Tuesday video. This time we're going to do a tutorial. This is again going to be another one of those kind of two-part tutorials. Just because the methods are so different and they require different materials and things like that. So the first one is going to be kind of a simple way to extend joints. I'm working on the Graze Kai, and I felt the arms were a little short. They just felt a little bit shorter than most arms you get in kits. And I wanted to just extend it by a couple of millimeters. Nothing too much. Pop the shoulders off so you can see it a little better. But here you can see that this arm is, well, if you pop the hands off, it's easier to see. It's a fair bit longer. It's not, you know, like a whole grade higher, but it's long enough that it makes up that difference. And I compared it with this arm, which again, it's a different mobile suit, so you can't, it's not really a fair comparison, but the arm is standard, it's shorter. So I wanted this to be a little bit longer. And this trick will work with most newer kits where the arms and the legs will kind of plug in to this kind of section, rather than the older style where you have to build it around a joint. And this will work with arms and legs. Typically you just kind of add a section here, and then in some cases you'll even add a section to the peg itself, depending on how the stability of the part is. So I've got the other piece I need already mocked up. It's super easy to do. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to take my panel scriber, and I'm just going to scribe a few lines. You don't need a guide, you don't need a ruler or anything like that. Just try and scribe it as straight as you can. You break it off, and there's your starting piece, about the same width. So what I did was I took this this drill piece and I drilled a very small hole in the middle. That's my pilot hole. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it's somewhere close to the middle. That's all that matters. Excuse me. Then I took this larger bit and I drilled a larger hole through the middle. This large hole should, this is the same bit as I used before, so it is, I know for a fact, wide enough for your peg to fit through. It's actually just a hair too big, but that's fine. It's an easy fix. I'm trying not to drill through my table. Good enough. You get the idea. You need a small part. So once you have drilled out your piece, you will, I mean, obviously you're going to test it and make sure that it fits the way it's supposed to. These should be the same size. They are. So I'm going to use this one because it's smaller. It's just easier to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on or through this and make sure that it fits how it's supposed to. And then I'm going to test fit it onto the part. And it works. It fits just how it's supposed to. So now I'm going to take some super glue and I'm going to, as carefully as I can, just put it on the top of this. I don't want any on the inside, just on the top. And this is going to flatten out and spread a little bit onto the piece anyway, but that's fine. And then we're just going to retest fit the part. Then we're going to press down. We're going to let it sit for a second so that it can set up. And then we're slowly going to turn this piece and pop this off. Now this is good to go. Now some super glues may take a little longer to fully cure before you can start messing with them. This, I just let it sit for like a minute or two, and it's good to start working. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is trim this piece down, obviously. So I'm using my nicest cutters, and I'm just trying to trim it as close as I can to the actual piece to save me work on sanding. And that's the gist of it. You're just basically adding a little block. There's a hole in there so that you can reinsert your arm peg, and the arm has been extended by a few millimeters. Now it doesn't peg in all the way, but it's enough that it still holds with friction, and the arm has been extended. Now the last thing to do is to pop the elbow joint off, if I can get it off. And then you want to tidy up your work. So you're going to go along each of these faces and just sand it down so it's nice and smooth. And that will make the plastic sheet flush with the actual joint. I try and get the sides first and get everything kind of squared off. It doesn't really matter what order you sand in. And then this last one I like to kind of do it at an angle. So that it doesn't just look like I slapped a piece of plastic on here. It actually sort of looks like it's a detail segment. And there we go. So something like that. And then when you pop the shoulder armor back on, it still looks pretty decent. It's got a little bit of overlap, which is fine. I think it looks good. If you didn't want that to overlap, you could always just take some styrene strips the same width and just pop those on there. And then like you'll take the armor piece off and then glue those around it and make sure that they're flush how they're supposed to be. And then you would sand those out the same way you just did so that they don't look like they've been modified. Easy enough to do. But then you pop everything back together. How in the world does this go on? You pop everything back on, and the arm works just as it was supposed to. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys learned a little something. I think this will definitely add a little bit to the aesthetic of my kit. Next time we do a joint or a part extension tutorial, it will be a little bit more in depth, and it will involve cutting your pieces and modifying them for paint anyway. So hopefully I'll be able to find some parts in my bin to show that off to you guys. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Later.